news. We'll get to our first guest of this hour nice and quickly. John O'Shea joins us with a look forward to the weekend. John, thank you very much for your time and a very good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Going very, very well. How's Napoleonic going after that win at Moonee Valley?
Yeah, no, he seems fine. Everyone went over him this morning and got the tick of approval. So, yeah, no, it was a really pleasing result.
How impressed were you by that performance down there at Moonee Valley in the red anchor, John?
Well, look, I'd suggest that we expected a really good performance because we'd won that race a few times previously, and this horse was the best prepared we'd ever sent to that particular race, you know, in terms of what he'd been able to achieve going into it. And he was a little unlucky at his last start. I think his last start will end up being a really good form race. So, you know, we thought he could run very well, and he probably did. You know, he showed that he was right up to the mark.
Has he always given you the impression that he's up to the top grade?
Yeah, no, we've always felt him very talented, but we're mindful that we just be a little patient on him. You know, I think with the progeny of Wooden Bassett, they're very, very talented horses, and just been watching a couple of others progress around the place and ended up in the deep end pretty soon, and may have, you know, just dented their confidence, as it were. So with this fellow, we were keen to build a bit of confidence and a nice profile before we stepped him out to elite level.
So, John, no doubt you have kept a very close eye on some of your opposition on Saturday upcoming. You would have seen Baywalk up close and personal. How does your colt compare to a horse like that?
Oh, he's not up to that level just yet, and consequently he won't go around in the race on Saturday. You know, he hasn't had the right preparation he hasn't had a look at the straight. He hasn't, you know, so he's not ready for that yet, but he'll be ready for something like that in the autumn, because he wouldn't have gone to the paddock, you know, not, you know, gutted, and he'll do well quickly, which he's already started to do well now. So we may consider giving him one more run, and we need to speak to Jonathan about that as to whether we do that. But I want to have a look at the horse myself tomorrow when I go to Melbourne, and then we'll sit down with Jonathan and his team and give some consideration to whether we run him again in the spring. All
right, so the CF4, it sounds like that wouldn't be an option either?
So I wouldn't say no. Okay. I mean, I just want to give consideration to where he will be best placed and what's going to set him up for the autumn. Now, my preference will be to go to the paddock, but like you said, we need to give Jonathan all the respect, and you know, he's a pretty experienced racing guy, so we'll see what he thinks and what he would like to achieve with the horse, and I can sort of tell him what I think we can achieve with him in the autumn.
How many do you train for Jonathan, John?
We only sort of get one or two a year from him, but I like to buy off him because I love the way he mates his horse, and you know, he's got beautiful pedigrees, which, you know, we bought Linebacker off him, we bought Linebacker's brother off him. You know, he's a good guy to breed off because he puts them in the ring and they sell for what they're worth, and they're out of beautiful European families. So, you know, like they're the sort of horses we like to try and buy if we can.
Can Linebacker beat Autumn Glow on Saturday?
It's a massive chance. You know, she's just a champion, and he's in good form. So probably would have, you know, I think would have preferred to have a little run over a mile somewhere before we went to the Golden Eagle, but just the way a little setback through the spring and wasn't to be. But he's in good form. You know, like he's right at the top of his game. He loves, you know, the Randwick sort of mile, that 1,300 mile at Randwick's really his sweet spot, and yeah, we're looking forward to getting him to the race on Saturday.
I dare say to you, John, it wasn't a shock, but that turn of foot he displayed in the Silver Eagle, it was electric, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, he sort of gave an indication in his trial that he was going well, you know, and so if you watch him, he's got big action, and so when he drew out, it wasn't too much of a worry because you can just let him roll with his action, and then when he gets into that good rhythm, he'll really rip for you, you know. So softer gates are worse for him than wider gates, you know. So he went really well on Saturday week last, and hopefully he can continue that on Saturday.
Does his spring continue after Saturday?
Again, it's all commensurate to what we achieve on Saturday and how he pulls up. So I'd say that we're more inclined to spell, but I was just doing some sums there now, and he's got plenty of time to have a break and come back in the autumn. But we just have a look at what he can get done on Saturday and how he pulls up, and before we make any assessment on what we do with him going forward.
Every preparation he comes back, he just seems to get better and better.
Yeah, again, well, I think that's more to do with the way he's bred, and he's out of a beautiful European family that sort of tend to train on, and we've looked after him and given him every chance early on in his life, so he's sort of repaying us a bit now,
Was it a no-brainer? Did you have to make that ultimate gear change?
Well, mate, he was dangerous, at the races, and it's sort of, we've got a couple other super sets here, Colts, and fair dinkum butter wouldn't melt in their mouth, but they're just not as good. Him, so
they can stay intact.
Always the
way. Will he have representation in the Victorian Derby as well Saturday?
Yeah, we've got a couple of good chances. They're horses that are bred to run a trip, and we give them a first go at a little trip on Saturday, and they went fantastic in the Amy Vars, which for mine has to be the right form race leading into the Derby. I mean, the nominal favourite went round, justified favourite, and there were some good runs in the race, and one of which or both of which were a couple of hours, and so we're looking forward to Saturday. And they got beautiful stout pedigrees to run a strong mile and a half. They're good jockeys and fit and happy sound horses.
John, there's a lot of chatter this time of the year, each and every year it seems, about the distance of the Victoria Derby. You mentioned those two horses, O'Shamus and One Step Closer, who will represent the stable. You're comfortable with it being the 2,500 at this time of the year?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not a problem, but, I get the strategy behind making it 10 furlongs. And, but, I think... also, it looks after the horse, that's great, but I think there seems to be not enough merit given to horses whose capacity is to stay a trip, and it sort of tend to shorten a lot of our races now for whatever reason, but I think there should be given just as much merit for horses that can stay a trip and trainers that can train them to do so as what we do, the emphasis we place on sprinting horses, and so... all the horses that we've run in the Victoria Derby in recent times have all trained on, so I don't have a problem with it at its current format, So, but if it was to change, I understand why, and we'd be happy to, do that as well.
Will we see Athabaskan in the Melbourne Cup?
Yeah, well, God willing, the vet sees it's okay for him to run, and our intention is to run him, and he's just coming into a bit of form. And so I'd really like to run him because he's a dead set 2-miler, and he was set for the race last year, and we were really bullish on his chances and vets pulled him out the day before. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, because we're exactly the same scenario this year. We've passed all the criteria and he's met all the balloting conditions, so he's ready to go, and he ran a good race the other night, indicative that he's ready to best foot forward when he gets to the Cup.
Absolutely. Looks like a nice form behind One Smooth Operator. And a couple more before we let you go, John. Thank you very much for your time. The Bendigo Cup tomorrow, quietness. Can you win?
Well, she can win. She's just got a frightfully poor gait, and she's probably going to left with not much option but to roll forward and either sit outside the lead or lead, which is probably not an issue for her. But I just looked at the last few runnings of that race, and tend to be won by a horse that's sort of blending into the race, She's not going to be doing that. So, but, apart from that, she's in great form. She's one of the few horses in the race that's got good form, and we endeavour to sort of get it to 1.5 miles, which is her right trip, So, it's a definite chance in the race, and it just, you'll know your fate early, because if Jamie can get her across without burning too much gas, well, she'll be every chance to win the race.
And do you have a winner today at Hawkesbury?
Yeah, I think Big Blue, he got into a really fast run race in a maiden the other day, and did a good job to hold on. Looks a completely different format today, where he'll roll forward and get into a 1-1 scenario with a slow speed. So he's got a great chance to break through today.
Thank you very much for your time, John. All the best over the next couple of days, especially on Saturday with linebacker in the Vic Derby.
Cheers, boys.
There's John O'Shea, nice and comprehensive Napoleonic